install your Python and also install your NLTK. So the next step is to use your NLTK to analyze some data. So for this tutorial, I will be using a data set. Okay, it's from a quite storybooks. It's from the story of Alice in Adventures in Wonderland. So we'll be using this data to analyze. So I've already prepared this data in text. So this is the data in text I've already prepared. So we will be analyzing this data. So before we start with analyzing the data, there are a few important libraries that you need to make sure you have in your installation. So the first one is the NLTK library called Punk. Second one is Matplotlib, and the third one is Stopwords. So I'm going to show you how we're going to do the installation step by step. Okay, so before we start with the NLTK library, I'm going to install the Python library called Matplotlib first. And of course I already have this one, just to show you that how to install it. So what you need to do is to type pip install, the same way you install NLTK, but this one install matplotlib, then enter. Then yeah, if it's already installed, it will have something like this. If it's not installed yet, you will see yes or no button. Just press yes, or it will start some installation on background. Okay, once you install this, again you can try to do some Python here. Again, you can try the same way you test the way you test your NLTK. Type the command. If there's nothing, that means it is already installed. So that is the matplotlib. Well, the second one is to install this NLTK download. Well, sorry, NLTK Punk, this library, sorry, NLTK Punk. So what you need to do is, again, you need to start with your NLTK. So you import your NLTK library, enter. Okay, now what you need to type is, sorry, you need to type the nltk.download, okay, punkt, then enter. If you already installed, it will say true. If you have not installed yet, it will do the installation. And of course, then the next one will be the library called Stopwords, nltk.download.stopwords. Okay, so if it's already there, it will show you that it's true. If not there, it will install it for you. Well, now we are ready for our data. So what we're gonna do now is to import the data that we will be using. So I'm gonna exit this one first. So what we like to do now is to go to our folder. So folder is here, Simon. So my folder is here, dataset is here. So what I need to do is to get the location of this data. Right, so it's here in the assignment. This is on my desktop. So you can either put your data on the desktop like this. For example, I'll show you. You can copy here on the desktop. Okay, but now I'm gonna go into my folder here where I put my data. So this is the data. So Alice in Wonderland, data's there. So now what we'd like to do now is to type Python in this data, in where I am. There's the Python there. Then first thing is to read the data from file. Yeah, so you need to read. Okay, so in order to read the file, you need to open it. It is similar to your C++ classes. I mean, if you remember how to do the C class, but it's much more easier. So now I'm gonna type something like this: data equal to open. So the name of the data is Alice, sorry, in Wonderland dot txt, enter. Oh, sorry, you see what happened now is this one have double quote, you know, single quote. So make sure you are using the same. So if you're using double, use all double. If you're using single, use all single. So type again, it's okay, don't worry. Single quote, Alice in Wonderland, sorry, .txt, enter. Now it's okay. Now our data is there. You can print the data. If you like to print the data, you can print the data later on. So there are two ways of reading the data. The first way is you can look line by line, or you can use a function called read in Python. So I'm going to use a function called read in Python. So what you need to do is to put a variable so that we can print out the variable later on. So I create a variable called raw, because this is not a process data. Raw data equal to read. So when I print, I can print raw, or you can print it straight away, print data.read. This is just for easy reading. So now if I print raw here, you will see that the data is printed, the book, okay, the whole book, the whole book, just the same like whatever you have. Okay, so there's one whole book there. Okay, so next step will be we need to import our NLTK. If you remember, we already installed NLTK. Now is the time for us to use NLTK. We import NLTK. Okay, so this is the sign that it is loading. Okay, now what we want to what we like to do next is to do a tokenization. So tokenization is process of splitting all these sentences, all these words one by one in a so instead of having a sentence like I like to eat burger, you will have I one like 2 3, something like that, one by one. Tokenization process. So to do the tokenization process, we need to do something like this. For example, we name it like text token equal to, okay, now we want to do the tokenization. So remember what we used for the data just now, we are using raw. Okay, if you refer back, we're using raw. Remember here we are using raw. Okay, you see the raw there. So now we're going to tokenize the raw data. So it's in LLP, or in computational linguistics, we call this text processing. So we need to do the tokenization of the raw data. So okay, I'm gonna type NLTK dot word dot tokenization raw. Oops. NLTK word tokenization. There's no attribute. Oh, I think words. Is it words? No tokenization. Sorry. I think it's tokenized. It's okay. It's okay. Just type again. Text token equal to NLTK dot word dot tokenize raw. Now the word is already tokenized, so meaning we have split it one by one. Okay, Now we can count. So to count the word, we can simply do a length. So print length. In Python, length is we can use a command, this one, le length of text token. So we want to know how many token we have from the books. Okay, so it's about 34,000 plus token we have now. So this is token. So token is different from vocabulary. Now we want the computer to tell us some more information about the words. Maybe later on I'll show you how. Okay, but now I'm going to do the next process. I'm going to use a library from NLTK that will make it easy for you to do your analysis. So with this library, you don't need to know so much coding. I've already picked up the library for you. So what you need to do is to use this library called text library. So you don't need to know, so much coding like what you did in your C++ classes. So basically what we need to do now is sorry, from from NLTK.txt import text. Okay, now we already imported text. Next step will be we want to create a new corpus similar to what the corpus in the NLTK. Now I'm converting the corpus, the raw corpus that we have previously, into a corpus that NLTK can understand. So I name my corpus text Alice. Now I'm converting now. Sorry. Okay, already converted. So now we have a converted corpus which is readable by NLTK. Okay. So maybe we want to do some, for example, we want to know the length of this thing. You can just type like this. Yeah, same, but it is already converted. Now can you tell me the vocabulary of this? How many vocabulary can we now creating vocabulary, which is the Unix word? So we have about 3,000 words, unique words in the text Alice book. So without reading all this book, without doing so anything, I know that this book contains about 3,000 vocabulary, which is considered for younger children. It will be a higher level. You know, um, for example, if you are small or younger age, you are using smaller or easier books which contain less vocabulary, but this one is about 3,000 over. I don't know whether this is too much or too, was it too less for you. But yeah, there will be studies. I think there's few studies doing this kind of research where they would like to know whether uh, what age is suitable for certain type or certain numbers of vocabulary. Now we have about 3,000 plus Unix words. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is what we call, okay, now this is the interesting part. We want to do a concordance. So what is a concordance? Okay, concordance is you put a word and then one word, and then it will tells you about a word in different contexts. So there will be a lot of sentences using that words. Okay, so okay, let's see. Maybe for example, text alias, yeah. Maybe for example, you are interested to know how the word is being used in in the Alice in Wonderland books. Okay, so you type that command and then you press enter, and then you see this is the how the word is. It's very good, to do this, because if you're doing narrative inquiries, stuff like that, you can see the word in different contexts. So you see, can hear the word is being used with, place of name, everything, or something that you count, candle, noun, ma'am is this. So it's using, a lot of things. So you can do a lot of fun thing with this. Maybe we try to sorry maybe we try to get another word. Yeah. Maybe if you have any other word that you would like to try, maybe how about capital. Okay, how about we try the word capital, how they use the word capital here in this book. So it's quite, they use it for places. And the other one is such a capital one for catching mice. So that one is different use now, not for the place. Okay, how about we try another one? Sorry, x alice dot concordance. So it's, this kid, when you know how to do this thing, it's very fun to do. Okay, maybe the word is, maybe you can try the word candle. How they use the word candle in the text? Oh, like that. Okay, so that's about how to use concordance, how to do the concordance. Okay, now the next step will be to do some distribution, simple statistic. You want to know how many words, the count of the words. We call it unigram. So what is unigram? Okay, so in language modeling, or in grammar, sometimes you call it grammar. Okay, grammar and language model is the same in terms of it represent, or it one of its types is try to understand how words fits together and the relation of the words. So it's like that. So in normal grammar, it's represented by, if you use a Chomsky full classification of this thing, one of the most famous thing is CFG, context-free grammar, and then we also have the CSG, context-sensitive grammar, and many other things. But in the conventional part, we use the same term. We use what we call language model, where it is a probabilistic thing of the grammatic, where we deals more about, or more doing we doing a lot of counting. Okay, so the first one will be, in the language model, will be what we call the n-grams. So n-gram is basically count of words, where you have a unigram, which is count of a single word, and then you have a bigram, count of two words together, or we can call it a pair of words. And then you have trigrams, where you count three words in a group, so it is count together how many times you see these three words together. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing is to create what we call a unigram. So I will be using the frequency of distribution 1, okay, to do the counting. And I will ask my toolkit NLTK. Okay, this is the function that will help us to count frequency distribution, and then text alias, and then enter. Okay, now you want to see the distribution. You can type, and then you see these are the top 10 words, famous word in Alice. You see all with different counts. And of course, this is a stop word, does not mean anything for you. But I will show you later on how you can manipulate in such a way that so that we can see a word with